What's poppin'? Gentlemen, I'm so happy to see your beautiful faces. I'm Wire to Wire Gene, got the little C cap, the captain. I can't even point to it. It's right here. Captain. I'm captain in this ship tonight. Wire to Wire Gene, the NFL genius. And to my upper left, I got the man running the ones and twos, Kyle, the King Edwards. He's on Tuesday nights. He's going to be on Monday nights. He's probably going to be on Friday nights because I'm going to force him to do N1 because I love talking with Kyle Edwards. What's up, Kyle?
Appreciate that. I'm good, man. How you doing? Yeah, I mean, that's true. I may pop up Wednesday night. I don't know.
Phenomenal.
I don't even know if we have a show.
We're going to make one. Then I got the man. He moved the show from Thursday to Tuesday so we didn't have to, so he can clean off his schedule for us, taking it deep with V Godfrey, THEEGODFREY. What's happening, Godfrey?
Nothing much. Excited for all this madness with playoffs coming up and, wearing my Baker Mayfield jersey. Just kidding.
Baker, man. Is he playing tonight? Is he going to start tonight?
Schefter's reporting it.
He's playing.
Yep.
I love it.
Oh, okay.
Which is insanity. But
I love my pick even more now. I picked the Raiders last night on Wire to Wire. Jennifer Matthews Lewis in the chat already. What's happening? How you feeling tonight? But we got that's the opening game. That's the opening game this week, and it's a dud. And Thursday night, like I can first thing I want to talk about is how many good Thursday night football games have we had this year? And I don't count primetime. Don't count Thanksgiving. That don't count.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't count. Because New England versus Minnesota was good, but it wasn't specifically an Amazon Prime game. So that don't count. Right. How many good ones have we had this year? And the opening week don't count either because that wasn't Amazon Prime game either. I'm talking about how many games has Amazon Prime got that have been good.
Not good at all.
It's trash, man. Next week we got to go.
Yeah, next week's a good one. That's the only one I would say. Yeah,
can't wait to break that one down. So, my man Chase, what's happening, bro? Not very many.
Yeah.
So we got a game tonight. Baker Mayfield is starting again for another team. Baker Mayfield on the Rams. He's going to play the Raiders, the resurgent Raiders, man. The Raiders have been on fire. What's that, 3 straight wins? 5-7 back in the playoff hunt. They beat the Seahawks last week. They beat who they beat last week? They won last week too. I forgot. Anthony Price, what's happening? Let me see who they beat last week. Y'all don't know? They beat someone last week.
Who are we talking about?
Chargers.
Okay, yeah. I was trying to think
who
it was.
The Chargers. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the Broncos. The Raiders have been on fire. Couldn't they force them way back into a playoff hunt? Were we too quick to judge Josh McDaniels?
I mean, he's definitely saving his job. Whether it was in
he was
jeopardy
saving his
or
job
not,
regardless, though, Kyle. You know that, right? Because they had no money in
I know. Well, I'm just saying, most people looking out from the outside looking in were like, Raiders came with all the hype. When they were 2-7, it was like, clearly McDaniels isn't the guy. But, I mean, there's some teams in front of them that they could catch, The Patriots, have their struggles. The Ravens, got to see what they look like, how many weeks Lamar misses. The Jets, I mean, can Mike White keep up the good play? The Chargers are in front of them, but, I mean, they've just beaten them, so it could be set up for them to sneak in.
They're going to win tonight. The Rams quit. The Rams are 3-9. And what did you say, Kyle, before we got on air? This is an opportunity to be the worst team ever coming off a Super Bowl win.
Yep. Which is crazy.
Wild stat.
I've been on it, man. When you don't have depth and you lose a Hall of Fame caliber left tackle, don't have an answer or a solution to replace it. When you have a quarterback, listen, a lot of those guys, let's be real. They got their ring. They're not hungry. They're not gonna gut it out. Some of them got contracts. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sean McVay leave after this year. I'm telling you, you might think I'm crazy. Stafford, I was watching Ross Tucker talk about, he needs a spinal cord surgery, and if he doesn't get it, his career is pretty much over. you're shuffling guys like Perkins, John Walford, and now Baker Mayfield. And it's insanity to be starting Baker Mayfield because you got to learn the cadence. You got to learn, the playbook. We're talking he's been on the team for like 4 whole days. Like, unless there was collusion
Not
going on.
even.
Yeah. I mean,
He claimed on Tuesday.
They're saying he's taking the most pregame warm-up snaps. So they're not saying he's starting, but, Schefter said he's going to play. So, Walford has a neck injury and they're not doing Bryce Perkins. I just feel like it's awful.
I feel so good about my pick of the Raiders tonight.
6.5 points is a gift.
Bro, I said the same thing when I seen that.
I thought that last week, though, against the Seahawks, I got to say, I was trying to question how would the Rams even score points, and they did. So, football will surprise you a little bit like that. But,
you're right.
I mean, the Rams are
Who's
just
Baker Mayfield throwing the ball to? Allen Robinson's on IR. Cooper Kupp's on IR. Van Jefferson,
yeah. That's your number one receiver pretty much right now.
God. So, from the penthouse to the doghouse. High of the mighty have fought. It's no wonder why Freddie jumped off the bandwagon. He rode that for a Super Bowl, and he was just like, "Nope, not today."
Right?
You remember the Rams' motto, right? Fuck them picks. That was their motto.
Mm-hmm.
They traded all their picks. They have no depth. They have no money.
Yeah, they went all in for 1 year, and now they've got nothing. The future's going to look bleak. And kind of like Godfrey said, who's to say Aaron Donald, who flirted with retirement last season, doesn't just retire at the end of this year? Stafford, anytime I hear spinal cord injury or something like that, can't feel too optimistic about them continuing a career in football. So it could be a mass exodus. And McVay's probably not going to want to stick around to sit through a rebuild with no picks and all that. No.
This is how desperate they are for pick. Part of the reason they picked Baker Mayfield up, I don't think they're going to sign him to a long-term deal, is because if someone else signs him, they get a compensatory pick. That's probably what that play is about. I mean, if we're being real, they're hoping maybe they catch lightning in a bottle and they can revive them, but they're looking for extra picks because they're light on them and they could get a compensatory pick out of it. Someone will sign Baker as a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
man, Freddie's struggling, man. Sanjay Price says Freddie went from the Giants to the Rams and now back to the Giants. Why do you originally leave the Giants? Oh, wait, they were bad. I get it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. These front runners are wild. These front runners are like thoughts. Like, I'm just trying to say, like that hole over there. So some news this week. Let's go over a couple pieces of news because this game is trash. We can talk about it all you want, but this game is awful.
Mm-hmm.
You want to give a prediction on the game? We can talk about it as that far. 9 minutes. That's all you're getting.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we're probably all going Raiders. Probably pretty convincingly. So I would probably say, let's go 28-6.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This game is a dumpster, tire fire, all rolled up in one. I say, Devontae Adams is going to dominate and Josh Jacobs. I think, 31-3, maybe, 31-6, something like that. I just don't see if they're going to put Baker Mayfield in there. I just see the Rams looking like all-world, not the Rams, the Raiders looking like an all-world defense tonight.
I got 27-10 Raiders. Hey, Freddie, how you think your Rams going to do tonight? Freddie said, "What's up, y'all? How you think they're going to do, man? We were just talking about you. We missed you." All right, first topic on discussion. Deshaun Watson came back. He looked great, man. The Browns got a win. Deshaun Watson, what did he throw for 3 touchdowns? Oh, no, it was the defense. Oh,
yeah.
He had no touchdowns. So, versus the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson came back and did nothing.
He was going to be rusty, right? I mean, no matter what. He's played for not 2 years, a year and a half. I mean,
Houston Texans are an easy game to come back against.
True.
Throw 1 touchdown. Show me something. What faith do you have in Deshaun Watson ever being a top 5 quarterback in the NFL again? Ever?
It's tough to answer. I think he could be top 10. I mean, I'm going to give him another week. I think, and people are going to say I'm crazy here. I know I'm going to get heat for this. I think the Browns can sneak into the playoffs.
Please don't say that.
I definitely think it could happen. I mean,
I
listen.
hope Control's not listening. I really don't.
We'll talk about the Jets later, but people want to talk about Mike White. He should have been 4 interceptions last week. He had 2, and 2 bounced off the chest of cornerbacks. So, I mean, we'll get to that game, but
they should have beat Minnesota, and now they're going to go up to Buffalo and get their ass beat. We'll get into that game in a minute. Deshaun Watson, though, do you think he'll ever become a top 5 quarterback ever again, Kyle?
I think it'd be tough because I mean, he's talented. Before all this happened, you could probably say he was close to top 5 if you didn't have him up there. But
100% top 5. He was 3 on.
Well, I was also saying if you didn't think he was top 5, he's probably right outside. But I thought he was a top 5 quarterback, and missing that much time, I feel like the talent's probably still there.
Top 5?
Yeah, he's saying give him time. I just can't see that because in today's league, that means you'd be putting him over what? So let's say top 5 is like Mahomes, Allen,
Herbert, Burrow. Well,
Hurts
I don't want Herbert in my top 5. I have Herbert like 6. I'm gonna just figure out 2 other quarterbacks to put out of him. Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know, bro. But you have to put him.
Yeah,
I don't think he ever gets in there. I think the top 3 quarterbacks in the league are elite. I think it's Mahomes, Allen, and Joe Burrow.
Right.
He's not better than Justin Herbert now, though, bro. Stop. That's silly. And I'm not a Justin Herbert guy. He's not better than Jalen Hurts right now either. You can stop lying to yourself. Talking about the MVP to a guy that couldn't score a touchdown versus Houston. I don't want to hear that.
Right. I mean, we'll have to see maybe what he looks like next season. Get an off season, get right. Then we can maybe judge him. I feel like it's probably going to be a struggle the next couple of weeks. Maybe the last like 2 games of the season, maybe we start seeing a little bit of, Texans Watson. But yeah, I wouldn't expect him to get back there.
I hope he doesn't. I actively root against him. He's a shitty person, bro. He's a bad human being. I actively root against people like him and Tyreek Hill. I root against all of them. You're an awful person. I'm not rooting for you.
Yeah,
he is an awful person. But I don't know. Separating that, I think he's got enough talent to be top 10. I don't think top 5.
Okay, yeah, it's fair.
Edging out the top 10 too. I want to say like 9, 10, maybe hovering around 11 or 12.
Next on the docket, the Atlanta Falcons have benched Marcus Mariota to start rookie Desmond Ridder. What are your thoughts on that? I'll go 3rd on this one.
I don't think you can hurt him. I mean, what do you have to lose? You know what Marcus Mariota is. This experiment's been tried over and over again. I don't think he's playing bad. But, I'll take notice for a guy like Drake London, right? Good receiver, good talent. But Mariota has not been able to get on the ball. Will we see an uptick in usage for Kyle Pitts and
Kyle Pitts done for the year, bro.
Who Pitts?
He's done for the year.
Oh, is he? All right. So London, we're going to see an uptick of usage. I just think he needs a better pass thrower, and I just think that's what they're looking to get is more out of the pass game.
All right, so Godfrey, hold that thought, put a pin in it, because I'm gonna unleash in a minute. Kyle, what's your thought?
I mean, it's a move that a lot of Falcons fans have been looking for the past couple of weeks, because I think people understand with Mariota, there's only so far you're going to go, and it almost seems like the way the play calling's been going, they've been kind of taking responsibilities more and more away from Mariota. So for fans, it was like, well, if you're going to do that, throw Ridder out there, see what you have. I mean, I'm not expecting a lot out of him. Yeah. I'm assuming he's probably going to go in there and play, and then Falcon fans will want them to draft a quarterback next season or something like that. But who knows? Maybe he shows something and they feel some type of optimism next season. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. No Pitts. London's basically the only. Well, Patterson. They line him up as wide receiver sometimes, but I don't know. I'm not expecting a lot of wins the rest of the season, but might as well let him play and see.
Bad news for you guys. Hey, Kyle, you watch college football, right?
Yeah.
You watch Desmond Ritter play college football?
Yeah, what, Cincinnati?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Godfrey, I know your extent of watching college football. I get it. You watch a
I've
ton
seen
of
some
tape.
clips.
Yeah, you watch a ton of tape before the draft. I understand.
Yeah, I'm not telling you I'm watching Cincinnati
I'm
games.
gonna tell you something right now. There's no difference between Desmond Ritter and Marcus Mariota. Desmond Ritter's best games are Marcus Mariota's worst. I'm not trying to be. I really don't want to be that guy. I don't. Desmond Ritter stinks. I don't know how any team invested a first-round draft pick in him. He stinks.
Did they pick him in the first round?
Yeah, first-round 29th pick. I'm pretty sure. Am I
I
correct
think
there,
so.
Kyle?
I thought he was a third, but I could be wrong. I mean,
I could be wrong. Let's find out.
but
I feel like
I mean,
I feel
your
like it
point's
was
still
too high
valid.
to
I
draft
mean,
him.
your point's still valid, though. I mean, whether he's in the first or not, I get where you're going with it.
You're right. Third-round pick, 74th overall.
Oh wow.
Look at you now in the draft.
Yeah, he's the only reason I remember that is because it was of note because it went Pickett, then Willis, and then I think Ritter was after Willis, if I'm not mistaken. Not right after, but same.
I'm telling you that Desmond Ritter stinks. I don't need you to watch a ton of tape on him. All I need you to do is watch one college football game. That's it. Just one. I watched him. I watched him beat up teams in what are they in the Big East? Cincinnati. They stink. The conference they're in is awful. They play UConn and watch him play Bama in the college football playoff. And I'm not saying that like it's a fair comparison. Bama is obviously the best defense he's seen all year, but it's not about what he did. It's about how he looked, how he did it. Clean pocket, scared, happy feet, throwing off his back foot. You'll see everything you need to see. Just put the tape on. I'm telling you, Desmond Ritter stinks. It's not worth it. Marcus Mariota, and he's literally Marcus Mariota, very similar style quarterback. Desmond will throw a little bit more than Marcus. Marcus will run a little bit more. But in reality of like them throwing the football, I think Marcus Mariota is better because his legs are better. I think that their throwing abilities are very similar. And I think you're going to see that when you see Desmond Ritter play quarterback the rest of the year. Now I get it why Falcons did it. They're 5-8. Why keep starting Marcus Mariota? You know he's not your future. Why not see what you have in Desmond Ritter? You're not going to make the playoffs. They basically just handed the Buccaneers that division, though. The Buccaneers are going to go 8-9 to win the division. It's laughable.
Probably by a couple of games.
Yeah. That division is really bad. Think about the quarterbacks that are in that division. Like one of these things just ain't like the other. Sam Darnold, Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, Tom Brady. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a money move, and I guess they want to see if they have anything in this guy so they could go after a quarterback, possibly the draft coming up. You know, they'll save $4 million in, cap space if they move on from Mariota in the offseason. It's, $2 million in dead cap, $6 million contract. So they'll move on from him if they think it's worthy. So if you draft him third round, I mean, you're probably right, and they're gonna find out in 3 games, like, oh, well, this isn't really much of movement. Only thing I can say is he's going to cost less money. So if they figure that they're getting, something reasonably close, Mariota's got more experience. So, but they're not signing Mariota to like a 2-3 year contract.
No, definitely not.
So,
all right. So next, good Kyle.
No, I was going to say like only because they were 4-4 at one point, and Mariota was looking pretty good, but since then they've been 1-4, and that's really helped Ritter's case, especially with, like I said, the fans really wanting to see him, but not expecting anything big.
I follow. The fans just don't watch college football, though. Because if they did, they would know Desmond Ritter is not good. 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, out for the season. They said there's a way outside chance Garoppolo could return for the playoffs 6 to 8 weeks. Are the 49ers finished?
I mean, I believe in their defense.
So do I.
I think the defense alone could make it a little bit interesting. Purdy, I'd have to see more from him. I keep hearing people talk about how he's a high completion percentage type of guy. And if he sticks to that, that could be good enough. But it's just like I don't see Brock Purdy going, through the playoffs having to beat maybe Minnesota or something, or the Eagles or something like that to get to a Super Bowl. I just don't see it with him.
Brock Purdy stinks. Iowa State kid. He had Brees Hall in the backfield. Played against Iowa in the biggest game of the year for him. Like it was like week 4, right? They were both 3-0. They played against each other, Iowa versus Iowa State. And I'm telling you, bro, I watched this game and I watched it. He couldn't score a touchdown versus Iowa's defense with Brees Hall in the backfield. They lost 13-3. It was embarrassing. Brock Purdy, there's a reason he was Mr. Irrelevant. I think Kyle Shanahan got him in that system because he feels like his when he's fully if he's the type of guy that if you gave him 10, 15 seconds in the pocket and told him exactly where he needed to throw the ball, he can throw it accurately. Like he's not inaccurate. He's not going to read a defense. He's not going to throw well under pressure. That offense would need to run the ball 100 times a game. So Brock Purdy is awful.
He is awful. I think people listen. Jimmy G's not sexy, but he brings a lot of experience to the table, right?
Yeah.
And people are going to see that because there will be a drop off. I have a wild take here. If Purdy struggles, I say don't count out Josh Johnson. Now people are going to say he's a journeyman. I've seen him play a lot of football, and people are going to say, well, where'd you see him play? USFL. I actually watched every damn USFL game. So I watch all professional football. I bet on it. I won money on it. I'm not joking. So that being said, Josh Johnson has never really been on a team this talented. He's not a bad passer. He's underrated as a backup. He's been sticking around for a while, and I could see him effectively running the offense and giving them a boost because, what Kyle Shanahan has done in the past when Jimmy G has been injured is he has shown the propensity to be able to win with a CJ Beathard at quarterback. I've seen it. I remember a game where they played the Rams, and they blew the Rams out at home with CJ Beathard. I remember watching that game. And I'm not talking they're going to win like 5 games, 6 games.
Do you know what Kyle Shanahan's record as a head coach is without Jimmy G?
It's not great.
Just take a guess. I'll help you. Ready? He's played 50 games with Jimmy G and 37 without. So 87 total games he's played. With Jimmy G, he's 35-15.
Without?
I'm asking you. Take a guess. 37 games. How many think he won?
Without, I'll say he's probably 40% clip of a winning percentage, 400% or something like that.
Okay. You want to take a shot, Kyle?
I'm assuming below 500, so I'll go 16-21.
8-29.
Okay, that's definitely saying something.
8-29 without Jimmy G.
But some of those games, you didn't have a fully healthy defense, which they have. You didn't have a healthy Kittle. You didn't have a healthy Debo. So there's a year in there where a lot of people were injured on that 49er team, talking about the year before last year. And that's not the case this year. I think they might be they're going to hurt. They're going to lose some games that they might have not lost. And that's going to hurt them. But I do think their better option is Josh Johnson. I really do. We'll see.
I agree with you. They're better options. If you watched Brock Purdy play in college, you would agree with that also.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy is terrible.
How about the Dolphins not being able to really take advantage of Brock Purdy being in and secure that win? That's kind of interesting as well.
Bro, listen. And you know what the funny thing is? I don't think Tua had a bad game. First pass he completed was a 75-yard touchdown. First play of the game. 7-0. And they only scored 3, I think, the rest of the game. What did they lose that game? 33-17?
It was something like it was a little closer than that.
33-17. 33-17. So, but I don't think Tua looked awful. I really don't. I think that he definitely missed some throws. I've always wanted to see the way Tua looks without playing against a really good defense or playing in cold weather because I feel like his arm strength lacks. That was a really good defense. It wasn't cold weather yet. You'll see him in cold weather when he goes to Buffalo and plays at Buffalo. But I don't think he looked terrible. I really don't. And I'm not too as big a supporter. You guys know that.
He didn't look bad.
But man, 17 points, allowed 33 total points to a Brock Purdy led offense. And coach will tell you, what's up, Coach Dante? How ass is Brock Purdy? He'll tell you. I'm telling you. Coach watches a ton of college football.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy is trash.
Yeah, I don't disagree with your guys' assessment on Purdy. I don't know him that well, but you could see that enough in there. But I just felt like, well, Tua is missing. They're missing both their tackles, if I'm not mistaken, in that game, right? They're starting tackles.
Yeah.
So that probably hurt him. Plus, you have things like I'm just amazed that the Miami defense couldn't tee off on this Purdy kid. I don't know how. I mean, you knew what they were going to do. As soon as he got in, they were going to throw short passes, intermediate passes, high percentage completion passes, run the ball, and they imposed their will on the Dolphins, even with Brock Purdy. I was just surprised that there wasn't a swing of momentum after that injury.
I asked this question on Wire to Wire last night. I'm going to ask you guys the same question because I think it's a great question, and I want all our listeners. I really want to hear your stack rankings. Rank these 4 teams in the AFC: the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, and the Dolphins, in order from most likely to win the Super Bowl to least likely to win the Super Bowl. Okay. I'm not talking about right now either. I'm talking about most likely to win the Super Bowl to least likely out of those 4.
I'm going to go with Bengals number 1, and that might surprise some people, but they got the Chiefs number. They started off the season slow. They've been on fire ever since. I'm going to go with Bills number 2. I'm going to go with Chiefs number 3 and Dolphins number 4.
The reason I don't mind that, with Von Miller torn ACL out for the season, I think the Buffalo Bills definitely take a step back. I really believe that. He was wreaking havoc in the backfield this year. But that's fine. What's yours, Kyle?
Yeah, it's similar, but I have Bengals, Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins. That's what I would go. Because I really like the Bengals, especially with Chase and them coming back.
Bengals won. That's wild. So I'll go 4-1. I'll go Dolphins 4. I think we all have the Dolphins 4. I'll go Chiefs 3. Chiefs have played 2 big games this year. 2 big games this year. They played one at home and one on the road and lost both of them. Lost to Buffalo in Kansas City. Lost to Cincinnati in Cincinnati. Give me the Bengals 2. And just because I'm a stubborn mule. In February, the week after the Super Bowl, I made a Super Bowl prediction. I said I think it will be Bills over 49ers this year. So I'm going to stick with the Bills. I don't think I can stick with the 49ers, but I'm going to stick with the Bills. I'll have them 1. Same question in the NFC. Top 4 teams. 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys, Vikings. What order do you put those 4 teams in order of winning a Super Bowl? Not where they're at now. I understand the Eagles are 11-1. I understand the Cowboys look amazing recently. I understand the 49ers lost Brock Purdy, starting Brock Purdy. I want to know what your rankings are. 4-1 to win a Super Bowl.
I got to go Eagles number 1. I got to go Cowboys number 2, and I got to go Vikings 3 and Niners 4. Because listen, their quarterback situation's got to have to factor in. I mean, I can't see Purdy escaping Micah Parsons in the playoffs. I just don't see that happening. And they do have the offensive line there to try to slow Micah Parsons down, so it's possible. But I don't know, man. That team's got a lot of unanswered questions. The Eagles, I mean, listen, everybody knew Titans don't have a good pass defense, and the Eagles did what they had to do. Jalen Hurts passed the ball. NFC Offensive Player of the Week. They're doing what they have to do to win games. They're doing it handily, and you can't fault the team for that. The Cowboys, Micah Parsons, I got to put them too because they smoked the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, and Minnesota Vikings have J-Jet, but I just don't see them getting past any of the top 2 teams that I just listed.
Yeah. I actually have the same exact list, and I'm a big proponent for the Vikings, but you can't really put too much faith in them with the whole Kirk Cousins primetime situation, and it's hard not to win a primetime playoff game. So, I just can't put them any higher. But yeah, I agree with Godfrey's list.
So I will give you my list, and I think it's a little different. I have the Vikings 4.
Okay.
And I have the 49ers 3. And the reason I have the 49ers 3 and the Vikings 4 is, let me ask you guys a question. The 49ers played the Vikings with Brock Purdy. Do you have any confidence that Kirk Cousins wouldn't turn the ball over 5 times and blow them that game? Do you have any confidence that he wouldn't get absolutely annihilated by that San Francisco defense? I think that Brock Purdy could kneel the ball the entire game and then punt. Kneel, punt. Kneel, punt. I think the 49ers defense could beat the Vikings offense in a football game.
I mean, just come down to whether Justin Jefferson makes maybe a special play or two. But yeah, I agree.
I got the Cowboys too, which I hate doing that. I hate having them so high. Hate giving them any credit. I still have the Eagles 1. I look at the Eagles and the Cowboys. We're doing phenomenal, Coach. Coach, I was asking you earlier, what is your thoughts on Brock Purdy? Don't you think he's a superstar, like a stud? Iowa State's own Brock Purdy. You're going to laugh at this reaction, bro. I know Coach is going to give me the right answer because we watch the same college football. He watches more. He probably watched way more Brock Purdy games than I did. I only watched 6 or 7 of them last year. He's probably watched the whole entire Iowa State slate. But
Shanahan's a good coach, though. He has shown the ability to adjust his offense to
Matt
what
Campbell's
talent
a
he
good
has.
coach. Matt Campbell was the most sought-after coach in college football. Coach for Iowa State.
I just like how Shanahan will try to game plan pressure away from the quarterback. You have the motion, and I just
thank you.
So he's terrible. But again, I don't think he's a long-term solution. I think they're trying to get Josh Johnson up on his playbook. I think that's your long-term solution. I just really
don't know why he got drafted. It drives me nuts that he made an NFL roster.
Yeah, the Mr. Irrelevant thing is pretty annoying too. I'm like, what is great? All right, is he gonna be Tom Brady? No, stop it.
The Mr. Irrelevant thing has been around forever. It's just the last pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah, but it's just, they're trying to drum up interest in this kid, and I'm just like,
well, I don't think Mr. Irrelevant's ever really done anything. That's why.
No.
Can you remember any Mr. Irrelevants that ever have been like players in the league? This guy's starting for a playoff caliber football team, which is why they're drumming it up, which I think is hilarious.
I mean, if we go back to when they have 14 draft rounds, like back in the day.
last quick question. Yo, exactly. I don't know what GMs and scouts saw in Brock to even draft him. He was terrible at Iowa State. Yo, Brock Purdy, and I'll bet you that Coach gets this reference. He reminds me so much of Graham Mertz from Wisconsin. He just reminds me so much of Graham Mertz, like when I watch him. But let's get in. Well, last topic, because it's going to lead us right into what we're talking about NFL Sunday. The Titans have fired their general manager a week after A.J. Brown put up 2 touchdowns and 108. Coincidence?
No.
Not at all.
I mean,
the minute the breaking news happened, that's the first thing I thought of. The guy you sent away scores big on you, and now you lose your job. Yeah.
I think the meeting after that loss with the GM and owner probably went something like this. Because, it was reporters Vrabel didn't want it. It seemed like his body language said he didn't want it at the time on draft night. I mean, we know Vrabel lets us see everything. I mean, he lets people take a poop in his house while they're drafting. 2020 draft. That was a classic moment by Vrabel. So he definitely leaves his emotions on his sleeves, and for sleeves, so to speak. And yeah, man, I mean, that's a coach with power too, because I don't know if Vrabel asked for his firing, but he was very unhappy about it. And once the result showed up and they torched them, yeah, I guess he had a lot betting on there. I don't know if it would have went differently though, if Burks didn't get hurt. But I have to say, like, yeah, man, it was a move where did you get a haul back for him? Did it, and did it hurt their team short term? Probably did. So I guess he got showed the door.
Bro, I think the point that we need to all look at is they asked Mike Vrabel about the firing, and he goes, the quote was, we have to move forward. Change is never easy, but we all have a job to do. It's evaluated every day. I told the team and all the staff this. We all have a personal relationship with John in some capacity. Personal feelings aren't important. I feel like that is an indictment of like thanking the owner for firing him. If you read between the lines, like, do you not hear that? That's his loss. He didn't want to pay AJ Brown. He was just banking off AJ Brown's injury history, and it came back to bite him in the ass. AJ Brown definitely deserved the money with the Titans. Basically, trade him away for a rookie wide receiver who was out of shape coming into the year and who's not performed. I don't think that's fair about Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks got hurt. I think Treylon Burks has, and that touchdown catch shows you everything that he can be. I think Treylon Burks is going to be a good wide receiver in the NFL. I don't think that you're trading like AJ Brown. I think he's worth more than 1-1, if I'm being honest. But paying him a first-round draft pick and then having to pay him, which is the reason we got him for 1-1. But if they drafted Chris Olave, which I know Olave went 6 picks earlier, but if they drafted Olave and Olave had the season that he had this year, I don't think you're arguing that pick, right? Like if they drafted Garrett Wilson and Garrett Wilson is coming on like he's done, like he has the last few weeks, I don't think we're arguing that pick. I think the thing with Treylon Burks is he got hurt, missed 4 or 5 weeks. Yes, he was out of shape coming into training camp, which I will never give a player. I will never, ever give a player a pass for that. You have a job in the NFL. You have to come to your job in shape.
Can I ask you guys something? Because
Sure.
I'm confused. I saw it in the chat. You guys correct me if I'm wrong here. I always hear this thing about A.J. Brown's injury history, but when I look at his stats, 19, 16 games, 2020, 14, 2021, 13, 12 so far this year. I mean, I know a lot more receivers out there that are injured more often. Am I missing something?
He left a lot of games with a hamstring injury. He started games and left games early. He constantly had injuries where he was like fighting through them. Questionable every week. Yeah, I think when you sporadically miss a game each week and you're always questionable, that comes in the reports. That comes with the price. Like the year he played 12 games for the Titans, right? He might have been questionable or a game time decision for 14 of those weeks. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I hear you. But I mean, the production he gave on 2021 when he missed 13 games is what he played, still gave you about 900 yards and 5 touchdowns. Didn't replace that production. It's not a lot. It's not world beater. I mean, he's beating the brakes off his all-time stats this year. He's 950 yards. He's got 61 receptions, 9 TDs. His highs previously 11 in 2020. He's going to beat the brakes off his all-time season highs. I mean, listen, football is a tough sport, and I get he was injured and he goes in and out, but this is the tough sport of tough sports. You feel like you're hit by a car in a car accident. So if you haven't played football, I played semi-pro. I played a year, and I've had my clock clean. And I'm going to tell you, after a game, you feel like you were in a car accident. So if you've never played football and you're in a car accident, you felt sore for 4 or 5 days afterwards, take that and times it by like 5, right? That's how pro football feels like. So I know he was injured. A lot of people are, but it is a tough sport physically. So if a guy's going to fight through it and have to go out, I'm not going to blame a guy for, leaving the game because he's trying to fight through it. There's some dudes that will take off 5-6 weeks for a soft tissue injury. I don't know. That's
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's why they talked about his injury. I actually said Treylon Burks was going to be good too, Coach. I'm with you. I had Jahan Dotson as my number 1 receiver coming out of this class. I had Treylon Burks 2, Olave 3, Garrett Wilson 4. I was the one that I was low on Drake London, and Drake London still could be really good, but that's kind of how my top 5 went coming into this year. And I can admit Chris Olave has been the best receiver coming out so far, in my opinion. Anybody disagree with that?
No, I think he's the most polished receiver that came out of the draft, in my opinion, as far as route running.
Oh, 100%. He's got PhD in route running. All right, let's get into this week's games. The last 35 minutes of the show, we'll talk about the Sunday games. And we're just talking about A.J. Brown. And the Eagles 100% put it together. Offense, defense, and special teams, and put a thumping on the Tennessee Titans. They'll travel this week to MetLife to play the New York Football Giants, who played a tie against the Washington Commanders. The Eagles coming to this game as a 7-point favorite. What are your thoughts on the game, Kyle?
I fully expect the Eagles to win this one. I've been one of those who thinks that the Giants will slowly start sliding out of the playoff picture. If you look at the rest of their schedule, there's not a lot of wins there. I think they play the Commanders again, maybe if you want to pick them to win that game. But yeah, I just don't think they have enough pieces to hang with the Eagles. And I mean, 7-point spread. I know we're not picking against the spread, but yeah, I'd go with the Eagles even with that easily. Looking at maybe 31. Let's go 31-16.
I love it. I hate the Giants as an Eagles fan. I despise them more than the Cowboys because where I grew up in Jersey, you're either Jets, Giants, or Eagles fans. So yeah. I hate the Cowboys, but I despise the Giants. I think the Eagles beat them. I don't like that spread on the road. I think the Giants will cover it +7, but I think the Eagles win. I think watching NFC East football for years, being an Eagles fan, there's just one thing I know. These division games can surprise you, and they could be a lot closer than you expect. And I don't think the Giants are horrible. They're a lot better than before they were, the previous 3 years. And I just think I could see the Eagles winning. I could see something like 30-24 or something like that. You say, where do they put the points up on them? Man, division games, you just don't know. And Saquon Barkley still has that ability. I don't know if
this stat is accurate, but I'm just making it up off the top of my head. I will guarantee you Daniel Jones has more rushing yards against the Philadelphia Eagles than he does versus any other team in the NFL. I'll tell you right now, for whatever reason, every time we play the Giants up in MetLife, it's an ugly, weird game that is always close every year. I don't care what the situation is, but if Daniel Jones, remember the game last year where the sniper got him when he was running for that 80-yard touchdown, the sniper got him? Yep. I'm not trying to be smart when I say this. This is going to be an ugly game. Saquon's going to run. Daniel Jones is going to run. I think that they'll run the ball effectively against us. I think their defense will keep us. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. I think the Eagles win this one 24-20. I don't like the point spread at all. I think it'll be close, and I think we just get out of Dodge. I actually think the game will end with Daniel Jones and the Giants driving down 24-20 with the opportunity to win the football game. And I think the Eagles make a stand defensively.
And I think the person that seals that is James Bradbury for the revenge narrative.
I like that.
Interception, game ends, James Bradbury walks off to the sunset in the Meadowlands. You guys should have kept me, and now I'm going to stab you in the hearts. That's what I see.
Well, the Jets beat the Buffalo Bills just 4 weeks ago in New York. Now they get to come back and play in actually in New York this time. They played them in basically North Jersey. Let's not lie about where the New York State, where the MetLife Stadium is. But the Jets are playing Buffalo in Orchard Park, New York. Is this a revenge game for Buffalo? You think Buffalo gets out of here with a big win? The spread is not at 10 now. It was 9.5. Now it's 10. That's a high spread for especially a game that this team just beat you. And they beat you up 20-17. But that game, Josh Allen left that game. That was the game where he damaged his UCL in his arm. That Jets defense got after it. I think that Jets defense, let up 27 points to Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, but it really wasn't 27 points on the defense. Mike White threw a couple picks that were in their own zone that led to 14 Minnesota points. And I think the Jets outplayed Minnesota that whole game. I really do.
Except for Mike White. He didn't outplay. I mean, listen, everybody loves the backup quarterback. It's a great story. I think the Jets got a lot of talent on defense, but I have to ask down the stretch, do they see Mike White leading them into the playoffs? Not to say Zach Wilson will. And I think the Bills are going to clap those cheeks. I see it happening, and they're going to beat them handily. I just feel like when you have a quarterback that you're depending on to lead you into a win, the Minnesota win is a win they have to get to make this playoff push. And when you throw, as you pointed out, Gene, 2 picks that lead to 14 points and 2 that bounced off defender's chest, we're talking about 4 possible picks in a game. You're putting a lot of stress on the talented defense and the run game portion of that team. And what you're saying is that these Jets are going to have to pitch a damn near shutout on some of these teams. And that's putting a lot of pressure on your defense. So, they don't have any cornerbacks in Minnesota, right? I mean, I just don't see Sean McDermott letting this happen. He's going to have that secondary ready. Defensive guy.
Minnesota don't have any cornerbacks?
Cornerbacks.
They do.
Well, I mean, the one dude's injured. They were playing on their 4th cornerback, weren't they?
Okay, that's fair. I think you meant for like the season.
No. I'm just talking about health status and who was on the field that game. I just feel like Mike White is the great white hype right now, and I just feel like everybody loves that backup quarterback. And then, the Jets are in a tough spot because they got to be like, well, can we win with Mike? Do we get a quarterback next year? What do we do with Zach? What does it do with his value? They're in a tough spot right now.
Here's the problem, man. They threw the ball 57 times with Mike White. I don't care what the situation is. You can't throw the ball 57 times with Mike White. Zonovan Knight ran the ball 15 times for 90 yards. It was running effectively. But, man, 15 targets to Garrett Wilson. 10 targets to Corey Davis. 7 to Ty Johnson. 7 to Tyler Conklin. 6 to Elijah Moore. Like, you can't throw the ball that much. You can't.
Yeah.
You got to run the football. And the way to beat Buffalo right now is run the football. That's the way they beat them the last time they played them. They ran the ball down their throat. Michael Carter should be back this week. That'll help. I don't know why they don't get James Robinson involved at all. They start a third stringer. Zonovan Knight. I don't even know who that is.
NC State, I believe.
NC State?
I think you played NC State, yeah.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
I mean, so they like what the kid brought out of camp, but I think they should stick with him and Michael Carter. I mean, remember, James Robinson was in his shoes not too long ago as an unrestricted, undrafted free agent, right? I think J-Rob is, I don't know if he's cooked, but like he's another example of a guy coming back from an Achilles injury too early. I mean, let's look at Cam Akers. What has it done to his career? What has it done to J-Rob's career? And I think if you look at J-Rob's contract where he's at, he was worried about getting a payday or an opportunity. So he's in a tough spot as a professional football player where he had to go on the field and try to put something on tape. So I just think maybe he's not 100% back yet. And they're looking at that and they're like, listen, we can't rely on him. We got to go Carter, Zonovan Knight. I mean, Ty Johnson too is capable backup. That they're going to be rotating those 3, I think, once Michael Carter comes in.
Kyle, who do you got in this one?
I think the Bills get the win in this one. I know the Jets played well the first meeting, but I mean, if they're going to go ahead and try to throw with Mike White 40, 45 times, won't happen. If they try to play time of possession and, slow the game down, they'll have a better chance. But I fully expect the Bills in Orchard Park to, play well. The Jets defense, yes, it's tough, but I think they do enough to get it done. I fully expect the Jets to cover. I don't like the 10-point spread. So I'd probably say something like 20. I can see 24-20.
The Bills are front runners, man. They really are. They're very good when they have a big lead, and I think that they'll get a big lead in this one, and I think the Buffalo Bills cover. I do. I think they win big. I think they win this game 27-10, something like that. I think they dominate in both sides of the football, even without Von Miller. I think Mike White's a backup quarterback, and I agree with Godfrey what he said. I just don't think the Jets have a quarterback on their roster. I just don't believe it.
That's my score too, 27-20. That's right.
I said 27-10.
27-20, 27-10. I mean, I just don't like the 10-point spread. I just, once you get the double digits on a spread, it makes me nervous.
Want to hear something disrespectful?
Sure.
Next game on the docket is disrespectful. It is. It's disrespectful. Do you guys look at the spread in the Minnesota-Detroit game? Don't look. Don't look now. Don't look now.
Now you say it after I dialed it up.
You seen it?
Yeah.
The 10-2 Minnesota Vikings are 2-point dogs at the 5-7 Detroit Lions. Granted, Detroit's playing great football.
Right, yeah.
That's disrespectful.
Looks like it opened up a +2.5 Lions to -1.5. I think it went down to I'm on free scoresandodds.com, but I mean it has been at 2.5, but that's what made it shift. Is that public money? Like, is there a major injury I'm missing?
I think there's no major injury. I think it's the public being very behind the Detroit Lions. I think the public fell in love with them during Hard Knocks. I think they love Jamal Williams, and I think that I'll bet you they have more than 50% of the public money right now. It's absurd. The public loves the Lions, but the Lions being 1.5 point favorites at home versus Minnesota is crazy. Kyle, what do you think happens this game?
I mean, I would go Vikings. Kind of as I said earlier, I've been one of those who kind of before the season picked the Vikings as a playoff team. They probably have done better than I even expected, but I am encouraged at least by the Lions' recent play. I think Campbell has changed the mentality in Detroit. The players seem to like him and play well for him. But yeah, I agree with you. The spread with the Lions being a favorite in this is kind of disrespectful. So I think the Vikings. Yeah, I mean, you would expect a 10-2 team going up against a below 500 to be a favorite no matter where the game's being played. But I would go Vikings in this one. I'll go 26-19.
Godfrey.
Who has my question is, who has the better secondary health-wise this week?
Dantzler's back this week for Minnesota. Minnesota will have a few people back in their secondary this week. Harrison Smith's still there.
The hitman. Yeah, I mean, it is. It is kind of disrespectful. I'm surprised that it shifted that much. I would have thought that the Vikings would be favored. I think this.
What you're saying is on a neutral field, the Vikings are a 1.5 favorite.
Right.
It's wild.
There's got to be some kind of X factor. I don't get it, but I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I mean, listen, if they're a true number 2 seed, they got to take care of business here, right? I mean, I would take them by 3. I wouldn't falter on that, but it's a division game, man. Who knows? Maybe they're a different team. I mean, a lot of people said, and it was to my mistake last week as I interpreted the close game they had with the Bills to the Bills playing down to them. I think they played them tougher than people were giving them credit for on Thanksgiving, and it showed as the Bills blew out the back of the Patriots. And, I was way off on that as the result showed. And I got to tell you, maybe the Lions are playing people tougher. I mean, that spread isn't deserved for the Vikings, but I mean, I think the Hard Knocks sheen was off after the 1-6 start, right? I mean,
I'll tell you this, right? I think the Detroit Lions are playing great football. They're running the football well. Aiden Hutchinson's proven why he should have been the number 2 pick and why that was a good pick. Their secondary is playing very well. They're running the football with the tandem of Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift. Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, Jamison Williams is now back. I think that I was mad about this spread because I wanted to get plus money with the Lions because I'm taking the Lions outright. I like the Lions in this game. I really do. I think they win the football game. I think they're better coached. I think they have the better run game right now than Dalvin Cook. I think he's been suspect this year. I think the two-headed monster of Jamal Williams and Swift. And Jared Goff just made a statement. He's like, I think I'm playing the best football of my career. And I really think that the Detroit Lions are on a roll. I think they continue that roll, and they beat the Minnesota Vikings. Because I don't believe in Minnesota. I really don't. I think they're frauds. Say what you want. I think they're frauds. I do. So I'll give me the Lions in that one. 23-20. I'm lying. It's going to be way high scoring than that. Let me go 36-33.
Damn, that's a lot of points.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a very high scoring game. Don't look now, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are back in the playoff hunt. They're 5-7. They've won a few straight games. Kenny Pickett's looking better. And now they get the biggest choke artist in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is now 8-4, coming off of 3 straight awful games. They got a win over the hapless Broncos. They got a win over the hapless Panthers. And they got beat by the Jaguars in Jacksonville their last 3 games. They're going into Pittsburgh, and they are ripe for the picking. Without Lamar Jackson, Huntley will be starting. I like Pittsburgh in this one, and I like them. I really do. I think they're playing good football. That defense is playing well, and something about Mike Tomlin, November, December, man, he's just different. Guy's never had a losing record for a whole season in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guess what? He's going to be 6-7 with an opportunity to take a shot at a winning record this year when he was 2-7 just 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I like the Steelers in this one. I like them. Low scoring. I think it'll be like 19-16.
That's AFC North football.
Yeah.
I agree too, because I thought they were going to beat the Falcons last week, and they did. And if you look at the Steelers, the rest of their schedule, after Baltimore, it's Carolina, winnable, the Raiders, winnable, and then they get Baltimore again, and we'll have to see if Lamar is ready by then, and then they end the year with the Browns. So is it out of the possibility of them running the table? I would say no, because I would be
so proud of Mike Tomlin if they ran the table 10-7.
Yeah, it would. I mean, it would speak to how great he's been for so long in Pittsburgh. It speaks to the way that the organization is run. They've only had 3 coaches, so they stick with guys and they continually build up that program year after year. So yeah, I think they'd be Baltimore. I mean, I haven't been impressed with Baltimore in several weeks. They probably should have lost last week if Denver knew how to do anything offensively. And
they should have lost to Carolina.
Yeah, Baltimore has like a razor thin margin of error, and that's why a lot of times with the group chat we have a couple of Ravens fans in there, and I'll say when it comes to the playoff, don't expect a lot out of the Ravens because they don't match up well with a lot of teams in the AFC playoff picture, with them being so conservative and not being able to hold leads and all this kind of stuff. So
it's a broken offense. I mean,
yeah.
I want you guys watching the end of that game. If you do a QB sneak at the end of the game, are you going to do it with Mark Andrews? And they barely got it. But I'm just saying that just is a broader picture of their decision-making on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Huntley will be a serviceable backup, but I don't see him beating the Steelers. I agree that the Steelers are on the rise. TJ Watt's back. They're a completely different defense when he's on the team, healthy and playing. And the Ravens, this is like a repeat of last year. I mean, you could kidnap someone and bring them back to 2021 and be like, oh, yeah, is this the 2022 NFL season for the Ravens? Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. They're doing the same thing over again. There's something going on in that organization structurally. And if I'm Lamar, I heard Richard Sherman talking on his podcast. I'm like, yeah, guys, let me know how you do. I'll see you at the beginning of next season. I mean, he might feel that way. I mean, and I can't blame him because he doesn't have a contract, and maybe he's like, see what you guys can do on Huntley.
I can't believe you're one of them.
Well, listen.
I cannot believe you're one of them, bro.
But what if he gets hurt? What if he shreds his knee?
Listen, I understand that. So I don't understand when we just voided the last year of our contract. I don't understand that. Why sign a contract? I don't understand. I'm not saying he should come back if he's like 50%. I'm saying you should come back when you're ready to come back. But I don't understand. I can't believe you're one of them.
I don't want him to sit out. I'm just saying I'm surprised he wouldn't.
Pretend that the last year of the contract is irrelevant. Why do they have to pay him $45 million? Here's the biggest myth in the entire world, right? You want to hear a myth? Lamar Jackson the organization's given Lamar Jackson no weapons.
That's a myth. I agree 100%. Mm-hmm.
I got Mythbusters on it, bro. Last 5 years,
I'm tired of hearing
7 players in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. that are skill position players.
I'm tired of hearing that.
2 first-round wide receivers, a second-round tight end, a first-round running back. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. He's not a great quarterback to make receivers look good. Period.
I agree. I'm not saying I want him to do that. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if he did that. That's not my style of player as far as, I don't want to play because of this and that. You're a professional and they're paying you. I think you should play and you shouldn't sit out on purpose. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. I do agree with you. Devin Duvernay was a great player in college. I know that. Rashard Bateman's been hurt. Marquise Brown, I've been down on him, but he's a serviceable receiver. These are a lot of players that other teams that are receiver needy would take any day of the week. Devin Duvernay, put him on the Giants. I bet you they will love him, right? I mean, I'm just, I'm not saying they're world beaters, but he's had enough to win. And I just think, we're seeing this is good. This will be the same story every year in Baltimore, and something's got to change. And
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I agree.
The Steelers. Your thoughts on Lamar?
Yeah, I just think it's something where, a lot of people point to Roman and Harbaugh and the coaching staff, but it's like, I feel like they understand Lamar's limitations. Throwing outside the numbers, not strong at that. He's good inside the numbers, so they gave him Mark Andrews. If Mark Andrews is his favorite receiver, why? Across the middle. And I feel like this whole thing where just because, the Browns maybe gave Watson too much money or the Broncos gave Wilson too much money, that now because Lamar's up, he has to get paid more than them. And it's like, when does that cycle end? Because so the next quarterback next year who's up for a contract has to get more than Lamar too. So I don't think he's, 40, 45 million, type of guy. I know some people in the media think he is because of, they're
going to give Jalen Hurts $50 million in Philadelphia. They're going to give him $50 million.
Mm-hmm. But I'd feel more comfortable giving it to Hurts than Jackson.
I get it. I'm just saying.
I know it's crazy though.
Third.
Yeah.
I feel like that the NFL, when they renegotiate, they need to have caps on how much money you could pay a player, like a max contract. I think it would help them out a ton. But
I would be okay with that, long as it doesn't turn into the NBA where you're trading bad contracts all the time.
I get it.
That sucks. I think that's another discussion. But
I think the league would go for it because the only people that would be opposed to it would be quarterbacks.
That's
everybody else would love it because there'd be more money. The salary cap doesn't change. There'd just be more money to pay other position players, defensive ends and defensive tackles and offensive linemen. But long story short, we got a bunch more games. We have 10 more minutes. So Browns Bengals. This is apparently a big game because Joe Burrow doesn't beat the Browns. He just doesn't. And it's one of those things. It's really weird. They're 6-point favorites. It's in Cincinnati. I will be the first to tell you, Joey Burrow gets off the schneid versus Cleveland because Joe Burr is that guy and Cleveland is rolling. But this is a letdown game for Cincinnati. This is the definition of a letdown game for Cincinnati. And they won't lose anything in the division because Baltimore's going to lose. So I will tell you first, I think that the Cincinnati Bengals squeak this one out by the chin of their chinny chin chin. Give me a 26-23 Joe Burr win.
Yeah, I agree. Field goal difference. I mean, I would have gone probably 23-20, but yeah, it's one of those weird things, just like, the Colts can't beat Jacksonville. Can't explain it. It just happens. So, yeah, I agree. I think the Bengals are going to take the division, even though the Ravens have the much easier stretch of games, but I trust the Bengals way more, so I think they figure out a way to get this win as well.
Yeah, man. I think the only way that they beat the Bengals is if they're successful running the ball, and Nick Chubb has a hell of a day. That's the only way I see that happening. I don't know if that's going to happen. They're about average against the run. The Bengals are. They're not great, but I don't see that happening. I don't see the Browns beating them. I do see the Bengals winning and Joe getting off the schneid here. So I see something like I could see there would be a lot of field goals. Maybe the game gets slowed down a little bit, but I see like a 26-23 game.
3 more games in the docket. Buccaneers 6-6. Tom Brady's homecoming, going to San Francisco where he played football as a kid. That's where he grew up. 49ers fan. Tom Brady going home playing at San Fran. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. Bucs are 6-6, and they shouldn't have beat New Orleans on Monday Night Football. Now they got to travel across the country, play against the best defense in football, and that offense just doesn't seem like it's clicking. How do you see this one going?
I see the Niners defense frustrating the Bucs offense, but I think the Bucs defense probably does the same to Purdy. So I'm looking at low scoring, which most Niners games have been low scoring anyway. So I can't go against Brady though. We're getting late in the year. You feel that at some point he's going to put together a string of good games. So I'll go 2017 Bucs.
I got a wild score for you. It's not a score on me, but it's close.
It's going to be a Purdy score?
No. I'll take the Bucs 13, the 49ers 12.
Okay.
Ugly game.
Yeah.
Ugly game. I can see Tom Brady driving down for a game-winning field goal to win it 13-12.
Yeah, I think it's an ugly game, but if you're the Bucs and you lose this game, you're cooked, and you're only getting into
They're not, though.
Yeah, they're not.
They literally have a clinched division.
They're not. Well, I meant overall as far as how far they're going to go. You get clinched your division.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Bucs could lose out. I'm going to go nuts because Tom Brady's going to be 8-9, and he's going to play a home playoff game versus Daniel Jones or Taylor Heineke, and then he's going to go play Geno Smith or Kirk Cousins.
Not on the Geno train?
I like Geno, but
yeah,
Tom Brady or Geno Smith.
No, I'm going Tom Brady. Tom Brady showed you last week he could still do it under pressure. They had no business winning that game, and he just pulled last 4 minutes. He's like, "Up, 2 touchdowns. I'm going to win this by a point." You got to give him credit where credit's due. I do think that the Saints, that last throw where they had to turn over the ball to the Saints. The Saints had to turn over the ball to the Bucs. Andy Dalton made the throw; they just didn't make the catch. But Brady made the plays and made it happen. So, listen, at the end of the day, I think this is where the lack of experience of Purdy is going to show up, and the Bucs win this game. And I could see it being an ugly game. I could see it being like a 23-17 game. Bucs win.
Here's a big one. Draft picks. 2019 first-round draft picks. Sunday Night Football. Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa. Was it 2020 or 2019? This is their third year in the league, so 2020 draft.
Mm-hmm.
Tua at Herbert. Sunday night. Mike Williams will be back.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen's going to be there. I think the prime time is where Justin Herbert always shows up. I really believe it. Because he gets to show off that social media arm. It's a
social media arm.
You know that joke.
Yeah.
I got the upset. Give me the Chargers. Beating the Dolphins outright. I just think Justin Herbert's better quarterback than Tua. I feel that.
Yeah, someone gave the Tua Troopers a name called Tuanon, and I kind of like it because if you're a reasonable football fan, Tua's having a great year. There's no way in hell you're going to take Tua over Justin Herbert. Put Justin Herbert on that team and let things fly, and you'll see what happens. That's all I got to say. I think I'm going to take the points of the Chargers at home. I'm with Gene on this one. I'm going to take the Chargers. I think Herbert outdoes them.
I agree with you too. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I like Herbert. I like Herbert here. Yes, Tua's played probably better than most people have thought, but I don't know. I just have a feeling that Williams, Keenan Allen, and when those two do play, the Chargers do look a lot better. And like you said, Gene, as well, primetime, unlike Kirk Cousins, Herbert loves to show out. So,
yeah,
I agree with you. I like the Chargers.
Last game of the week, Monday Night Football. We got 3 minutes for it.
Oh, God.
The New England Patriots, who are sliding.
Yep.
No
They
chance.
get to go play at Arizona. Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, James Conner. The spread's 1.5. Now, I'll tell you something right now. I can guarantee you a win if you listen to me. You take two outcomes, two parlays. You take the Cardinals in the over, and you take the Patriots in the under. Because if the Patriots win this game, it's going to be an ugly game, and it's going to go under the point spread. And if the Cardinals win this game, it's going to be a high-scoring game, and it will go over the total. The Patriots aren't winning a high-scoring game, and if it's a low-scoring game, that means that the Patriots defense absolutely controlled the game. It's a guaranteed win. Both are plus 200 or more. So you're guaranteeing yourself plus money. But if I had to pick it, I'm going to give you the crazy answer. I'll go with the Cardinals in the over.
Okay.
I
I like the Patriots only because at this point I'm kind of picking them just to try to get them into the playoff spot.
I get it. You're a Patriots fan. I feel you.
Yeah. But I do wonder with the whole outburst of Mac Jones, do they maybe throw the ball a little bit more this week? I don't know. Then the Patriots struggle sometimes.
Did you not love that from him?
Yeah, I feel like this conservative play has to be frustrating for him because he knows what he can do. And as a Patriots fan watching it, Ramondre Stevens, yes, really good running back, but we can't be predictable where it's like run first down, run second down, and then Mac trying to make a throw on third down. Like, open up the playbook. Let's see what happens. So because of that, I'm hoping it happens after the outburst and everybody talking about it. We see more spread out, but yeah,
You got two
that's my
buffoons
last
on
hope.
the offensive side of the ball, bro.
Matt Patricia.
And Joe Judge. They're
Who
buffoons. They're buffoons.
I agree.
as The Rock would say, who is this Rudy Poo? Right? And that is
Yeah.
exactly what Mac.
love you,
Listen,
man.
Mac Jones. I'm not high on him. However, let the kid play. This bullcrap offense. Like, I was watching that game. I know why he's frustrated. Like, come on, man. This is like, stop, man. This isn't a cloud of dust and 50 yards NFL anymore. Like, we got to stop with this crap. And Matt Patricia shouldn't be coaching anything except the equipment in the New England Patriots room. All right. Or coaching room, because he has not showed the ability to have head positions well. He wasn't a great defensive coordinator. He wasn't a great coach, and he's not a good offensive coordinator. And if I'm Mac Jones, I'm getting pissed. Like, come on, man. Like, let the kid play. Either you want him as your quarterback or not. Unleash the playbook and see what he's got. You got some, like, come on, let's play some football here. I'd be pissed if I was him. It's so stupid of them to do that.
I agree with you. I'll take the Cardinals in this one.
Yeah, I got to take the Cardinals too, because the Patriots are a stubborn organization, and I don't see them giving it to Mac Jones.
Personally. I will say this, though. I'll be rooting for the Patriots because every loss gets closer and closer to my dream. Fire Cliff Kingsbury. Fire Brandon Staley. Fire Nathaniel Hackett. My dream. Listen, this is going to sound really controversial, so I'll save it for the last second before we're about to get off the air. I have a thing against underqualified, underperforming, over-tenured white NFL coaches. I have an issue with it, and I'm telling you right now, I am at war with underqualified, overstaying their welcome white NFL coaches. And it's not their fault. It's the owner's fault that constantly keep overlooking qualified African-American coaches that do not get opportunities in this league. I will say it so their names get said again. Give me all of them. Jim Caldwell, D'Amico Ryans, Byron Leftwich. Give me every one of them. Brian Flores, every one of them. Get Eric Bieniemy. Give them all NFL coaching jobs. Because this is bullshit. And that's all I got this week. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
I mean, I think you said it perfectly. I mean, I completely agree with that. Also, it could work the other way. The more the Patriots lose, maybe Bill O'Brien becomes the offensive coordinator next season. So I guess I
Bro,
could
my
root for
watch
that, but
just
I'm
texted
not.
me and said, "Good job working out." That's how fat I am, bro. I literally I got so hyped, my heart rate went up. They're like, "You're working out." No, I'm not. I'm just excited. Godfrey.
Oh man, I think the Rams. I mean, Baker Mayfield. Like what are we doing? This guy is gonna possibly be starting in 4 days, and this is where we're going with this. It's awful. And I think, if they go through with it and they're not like faking us out because reporting sucks these days, we might see a blowout tonight. That's bad football. I mean, is McVay offensive genius? No. I mean, people want to call him that. I don't think so. And I think he's going to peter on out after this and go off into the sunset and then maybe coach the Dallas Cowboys in 2 years. And I would love that as Eagles fan.
I think McVay is going to be an announcer on Amazon Prime for the next 3 years. And I think at 41, he'll come back and he'll still be one of the youngest coaches in the NFL.
McVay loves himself on camera, so he will definitely do that. Loves himself.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. The football game has started. We try not to hold you during any football games. The drive has started. The Raiders have the ball. It's 3rd and 5. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to us this week. We're Pregaming Pigskin. We'll come to you every Thursday, giving you the NFL breakdown of the week coming forward. For my man Kyle Edwards, the THEE, the Godfrey, I'm Gene Walzak, and this is Pregaming Pigskin. Signing out.
All right. See you guys.